A surprising number of geographical concepts, which you may have been taught in school and still hold as true, are fundamentally inaccurate. Consider this. Were you aware that the majority of the world's penguin population resides in a desert environment? Furthermore, is it common knowledge that a peak exists which surpasses the height of Mount Everest? We present here a collection of 100 geographical realities that challenge popular misconceptions. At number 1, despite Mount Everest's well-known status as the highest peak above sea level, it does not hold the distinction of being the terrestrial point nearest to the vacuum of space. That remarkable title belongs instead to the stratovolcano, Mount Chimborazo, situated in the Ecuadorian Andes. The reason for this counterintuitive fact lies in the Earth's geometry. Our planet is an oblate spheroid, not a perfect sphere, meaning it possesses a slight bulge around its midsection, the equator. Because Mount Chimborazo is located almost directly on this equatorial line, its summit projects further outward into space than the peaks of either Everest or Mauna Kea, even though its actual elevation is lower than both. At number 2, Mount Everest, often hailed as the ultimate challenge for climbers globally, has seen approximately 4,000 successful ascents since the 1950s. Tragically, the pursuit of conquering this peak, famously known as the Jewel of the Himalayas, has also claimed the lives of over 300 individuals. However, the title of the world's tallest mountain is actually held by a different contender, Mauna Kea, a quiescent shield volcano situated in the Hawaiian archipelago. Measured from its base on the ocean floor to its summit, Mauna Kea reaches an impressive elevation of 33,500 feet. This measurement makes it nearly 4,500 feet, taller than Everest. The reason this geological fact remains relatively obscure is simple. The vast majority of Mauna Kea's mass is submerged beneath the Pacific Ocean, making the prospect of an ascent from its true starting point, the seabed, a significantly more challenging endeavor. At number 3, despite its universally recognized status as a symbol of New York City, the Statue of Liberty, often called Lady Liberty, does not physically reside within the state's borders. Instead, the monument is situated on the New Jersey bank of the Hudson River. However, this geographical reality was overridden in 1987, when the Supreme Court issued a decision that formally incorporated the statue into New York City's jurisdiction. At number 4, when considering the location of Kansas City within the United States, a common misconception is that it is entirely situated within the state of Kansas. In reality, this major metropolitan area straddles the boundary between Kansas and Missouri, resulting in two distinct, technically separate municipalities, one bearing the name in Missouri and the other in Kansas. Number 6. The common perception of a verdant Iceland, contrasting with an icebound Greenland, is a well-established, though misleading, geographical trope. A frequently circulated tale posits that the Vikings intentionally reversed the names to divert rival settlers away from the island with superior agricultural potential. This narrative, however, is purely mythical. Iceland's designation is actually derived from its numerous icy fjords. The naming of Greenland, on the other hand, was indeed a calculated move. The Viking sagas confirm that Eric the Red, after establishing a colony there in the Middle Ages, deliberately chose the appealing name Greenland as an enticement for future settlers. Number 7. Contrary to a common misconception, Canada's seat of government is not Toronto. That distinction belongs to Ottawa. This pivotal city, situated within the province of Ontario, serves as the nation's official capital. As the political heart of the country, Ottawa hosts several key federal institutions, including the Parliament of Canada, the Supreme Court, and the official residence of the Prime Minister. Beyond its governmental role, the city is also a significant academic hub, boasting numerous universities. In fact, Ottawa stands out among all Canadian cities for having the largest percentage of residents with a university education. Number 8. Kaliningrad represents a unique geographical anomaly as a Russian exclave, a territory completely detached from mainland Russia. This region is nestled between Poland and Lithuania on the Baltic Sea, covering approximately 15,125 square kilometers, roughly one-fifth the size of Lithuania, and housing around 1 million people. This historic territory once formed part of German East Prussia, with its capital formerly known as Königsberg. After being ceded to the USSR in 1945, it was renamed Kaliningrad in honor of Mikhail Kalinin, a prominent Soviet politician. At number 9, the Four Corners Monument is the only U.S. location where 4 state borders intersect: Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah. This quadrupoint is managed by the Navajo Nation and features a granite and bronze disc, marking the exact intersection. Visitors can simultaneously touch all 4 states. While modern GPS shows the original 19th century survey was slightly inaccurate, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that established markers are the legal boundaries. Number 10. Hawaii holds the distinction of being the most isolated population center on Earth. The Hawaiian Islands are approximately 3,850 kilometers from California and about 6,200 kilometers from Japan, distances that make even long-haul flights seem short compared to Hawaii's Pacific solitude. Honolulu, the main population hub, is considered one of the most remote major cities globally, with its closest U.S. major metropolitan neighbor being San Francisco, approximately 3,862 kilometers away. This isolation has shaped everything from Hawaii's high rate of endemic species, many found nowhere else on Earth, to a unique culture and economy built around maritime connections, tourism, and self-sufficiency in a place surrounded entirely by open ocean. At number 11. The Sahara Desert was once a lush green savanna during the African humid period, 11,000 to 5,000 years ago. Instead of sand dunes, much of North Africa was covered by grasslands, trees, and vast lake systems. This dramatic climatic shift was driven by changes in Earth's orbit, which intensified the African monsoon. Number 12. Greenland is the world's largest island, covering 2.166 million square kilometers. Its most defining feature is its immense ice sheet, the second largest in the world, covering approximately 80% of the island. This ice sheet contains enough water to cause a global sea level rise of more than 7 meters if it melted completely. The ice sheet is dynamic, with glaciers flowing toward the coast where they calve into icebergs. This process has accelerated due to climate change, making Greenland the largest single contributor to global sea level rise. Number 12. Salar de Uyuni in Bolivia is the world's largest salt flat, covering over 10,000 square kilometers. Formed from prehistoric lake remnants, the salt crust is exceptionally flat, with less than 1 meter elevation variation. During rainy season, thin water layers transform it into the world's largest natural mirror, creating perfect sky reflections. Beyond its beauty, it holds one of the world's largest lithium reserves. At number 13, California's largest lake, the Salton Sea, was created by an engineering mishap in 1905. When an irrigation canal from the Colorado River was mishandled, the river broke through and flooded a desert basin for 2 years, turning a dry salt flat into a vast inland sea. Number 14. The line of 0 degrees longitude known as the Prime Meridian runs directly through Greenwich, England, marking the reference point from which all east-west positioning on Earth is measured. Established at the Royal Observatory Greenwich by Sir George Airy in 1851, it became the world standard at the International Meridian Conference, held in Washington, D.C., in 1884. This historic line is marked by a metal strip in the observatory courtyard, and at night a laser beam shoots northward across the London sky, making the meridian visible from a distance. Number 15. In 2010, scientists discovered a massive underwater river on the Black Sea floor. This distinct channel flows along the seabed with banks, floodplains, and even rapids. The phenomenon is a density current formed by highly saline Mediterranean water flowing through the Bosphorus Strait into the less saline Black Sea. Being denser, the Mediterranean water sinks and flows along the seabed. With a flow rate that would make it the 6th largest river on land, this discovery is crucial for understanding deep-sea sediment and nutrient transport. Number 16. Nepal is home to 8 of the world's 10 tallest mountains. Among the top 10 highest peaks globally, only K2 and Nanga Parbat lie entirely outside Nepal's borders. The other 8 peaks, including Everest, Kangchenjunga, Lhotse, Makalu, Cho Oyu, Dhaulagiri, Manaslu, and Annapurna, either fall entirely or partially within Nepal's territory. These giants dominate the Nepalese Himalayas, forming a majestic range that appears frozen at the edge of the sky. Sculpted by tectonic collisions between the Indo-Australian and Eurasian plates, these mountains define Nepal's rugged character and attract adventurers from around the world. Number 17. A 2015 study revealed there are an estimated 3 trillion trees on Earth, far outnumbering the 100 to 400 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. This research used satellite imagery, forest inventories, and supercomputer technologies to map global tree density, However, the study also revealed that the total number of trees has plummeted by roughly 46% since human civilization began, with the planet losing approximately 10 billion trees annually to deforestation. Number 18. Japan experiences over 1,500 earthquakes annually, making it one of the world's most seismically active nations. Situated at the intersection of four major tectonic plates, the Pacific, Philippine Sea, Eurasian, and North American plates, Japan accounts for roughly 10 to 18% of the world's earthquakes, with magnitudes between 4.0 and 6.0 occurring frequently. Japan's seismic history includes some of the most devastating earthquakes in recorded history, such as the tragic 1923 Great Kanto earthquake and the 2011 Tohoku earthquake, which registered magnitude 9.0 and triggered a massive tsunami and nuclear disaster. To manage this constant seismic threat, Japan has implemented a nationwide early warning system and conducts regular emergency drills for its citizens. Number 19. The vast Tibetan Plateau, often called the roof of the world, maintains an average elevation soaring above 4,500 meters. Spanning roughly 2.5 million square kilometers, approximately 4 times the size of France, it stands as the highest and largest plateau on the planet. This elevated landmass was formed by the collision of the Indo-Australian and Eurasian tectonic plates, which thrust it skyward over millions of years. Despite its harsh climate, where winter temperatures in places like Changtang can plummet below minus 40 degrees Celsius, the plateau's glaciers feed most of Asia's mighty rivers, including the Yangtze, Yellow, Mekong, Brahmaputra, and Indus, earning it the nickname the Water Tower of Asia. At number 20, Mauna Loa in Hawaii is Earth's largest active volcano. While its peak stands 4,170 meters above sea level, when measured from the ocean floor base, it rises 9,170 meters, making it taller than Mount Everest from base to summit. Its volume is estimated at 75,000 cubic kilometers, built by countless lava flows over hundreds of thousands of years. As a shield volcano, its eruptions are typically non-explosive, with fluid lava flows that shape the island's landscape. Number 21. On clear nights with a full moon, Yosemite National Park is one of the few places in the world where you can witness a moonbow, a rainbow created by moonlight. These ghostly, pale arcs of light appear in the midst of the park's powerful waterfalls. Number 22. In a mind-bending comparison of scale, the nation of Russia has a larger surface area than the dwarf planet Pluto. Russia, the largest country in the world, spans an incredible 17.1 million square kilometers, while Pluto has a surface area of approximately 16.7 million square kilometers. This startling fact puts the immense size of Russia into a cosmic perspective that challenges our understanding of scale. The country stretches across an unprecedented 11 time zones, encompassing a vast range of environments from Arctic tundra in the north to subtropical beaches along the Black Sea coast. To put this in perspective, when it's noon in Moscow, it's already 10 p.m. in Vladivostok. This comparison highlights not only the sheer vastness of Russia, but also how our perceptions of celestial bodies can be misleading. Pluto, despite being a spherical world with its own moons and complex geology, is literally dwarfed by a single nation on our own planet. Number 23. The Challenger. Deep in the Mariana Trench is Earth's lowest known point at approximately 10,984 meters below sea level. The pressure at the bottom is over 1,000 times atmospheric pressure. Despite these extreme conditions, unique organisms have adapted to the intense pressure and complete darkness. Only a handful of submersibles have reached this ultimate frontier on our planet. Number 24. The Democratic Republic of Congo hosts the second largest rainforest in the world. Following only the Amazon, the Congo Basin rainforest spans roughly 1.6 million square kilometers. Approximately 60% of this rainforest lies within the DRC's borders, equating to nearly 1 million square kilometers of primary forest, making the DRC second only to Brazil globally in terms of rainforest coverage. This biodiverse ecosystem is home to forest elephants, bonobos, chimpanzees, over 10,000 plant species, approximately 400 mammal species, 1,000 bird species, and 700 fish species, many of which are found nowhere else on Earth. At number 25, Canada is, unequivocally, the country of lakes. It is home to more lakes than the rest of the world combined. While official counts vary depending on the minimum size criteria used, estimates place the number as high as 3 million lakes. This aquatic abundance means that approximately 60% of the world's total lakes are found within Canada's borders, and about 9% of the country's vast surface area is covered by fresh water. The primary reason for this profusion of lakes is the last ice age, when retreating glaciers carved out millions of depressions in the Canadian Shield that later filled with meltwater. This includes some of the largest lakes in the world, such as Great Bear Lake, Great Slave Lake, and Canada's portion of the Great Lakes System, which together form the largest group of freshwater lakes on Earth and contain about 21% of the world's surface freshwater. At number 26, a 2015 study revealed there are an estimated 3 trillion trees on Earth, far outnumbering the 100 to 400 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. This research used satellite imagery, forest inventories, and supercomputer technologies to map global tree density. However, the study also revealed that the total number of trees has plummeted by roughly 46% since human civilization began, with the planet losing approximately 10 billion trees annually to deforestation. Number 27. Greenland is geography's most famous misnomer, as over 80% is covered by permanent ice sheet. The name originated from Norse explorer Eric the Red in the 10th century. After being exiled from Iceland, he explored the new land and deliberately chose an appealing name to attract settlers, reasoning that people would be more attracted to go there if it had a good name. The marketing ploy worked, establishing the first European settlements, though the name belies the icy interior. At number 28, Socotra Island, a Yemeni territory in the Indian Ocean situated between the Guardafui Channel and the Arabian Sea, is often described as Earth's most alien-looking and beautiful place. Isolated for millions of years, Socotra functions as a living gallery of surreal and sculptural vegetation. Umbrella-shaped dragon's blood trees, bottle-like cucumber trees, delicate desert roses, and other endemic species comprise nearly 37% of its 835 plant species, all found nowhere else in the world. Socotra possesses a cinematic, dreamlike beauty unlike anywhere else on Earth. Number 29. The Andes is the world's longest continental mountain range, stretching 7,000 kilometers along South America's western edge through 7 countries. With an average height of 4,000 meters, it was formed by oceanic plate subduction beneath the South American plate, making it one of the most volcanically and seismically active regions. The range includes some of the world's highest peaks outside Asia, including Mount Aconcagua. At number 30, Australia's Great Barrier Reef is the largest living structure on Earth, a natural wonder of such immense scale that it is clearly visible from space without any magnification. It is not a single continuous reef, but rather a sprawling complex of over 2,900 individual reefs and 900 islands, stretching for more than 2,300 kilometers along the coast of Queensland. The entire system covers an area of approximately 344,400 square kilometers, making it larger than the United Kingdom, Switzerland, and Holland combined. Number 31, the Grand Canyon creates its own weather systems due to its dramatic topography. The canyon's size, steep walls, and elevation variations result in significant temperature, wind, and precipitation differences. Common phenomena include temperature inversions where cold air sinks into the canyon, trapping warmer air and creating cloud seas. Temperature differences between rim and floor can be substantial, with different ecosystems existing at various elevations. Number 32, in the Philippines, Vulcan Point is a geological marvel, an island within a lake, on an island within a lake, on another island. This nested formation centers around the Taal volcano on Luzon Island. The structure consists of Vulcan Point, an island in Main Crater Lake, which sits on Volcano Island, which is in Taal Lake, which is on Luzon Island. This unique geography results from the volcano's complex history of eruptions and caldera collapses. The 2020 eruption temporarily caused the Main Crater Lake to disappear, but it has since returned. Number 33. Mongolia has the lowest population density of any sovereign country on Earth. Despite being the 19th largest nation by area, with a landmass of approximately 1.56 million square kilometers and a population of just around 3.5 million people, Mongolia averages only about 2 people per square kilometer, far less dense than even Australia or Canada. Over 45% of all Mongolians live in Ulaanbaatar, the capital, leaving vast swaths of the country feeling nearly empty, with some regions hosting fewer than one person per square kilometer. Mongolia's terrain, dominated by the Gobi Desert, soaring Altai mountains and wide-open steppes, combined with a harsh continental climate and nomadic traditions, has maintained exceptionally low population levels and highly sparse settlement patterns. Number 34. Svalbard experiences the midnight sun for over 4 months in summer, where the sun doesn't set from approximately April 20th to August 23. This occurs due to Earth's axial tilt. The flip side is polar night during winter with continuous darkness from late October to mid-February, illuminated only by moon, stars, and northern lights. This dramatic light-dark cycle defines life in the high Arctic. Number 35. North Korea and Finland are both bordered by the same country, Russia. Russia shares a 17-kilometer land border with North Korea along the Tumen River and maintains an extensive 1,340-kilometer eastern border with Finland, making both countries Russia's neighbors despite being worlds apart in distance and culture. In North Korea's case, this border is short and remote, representing the only land boundary the country has aside from China and South Korea. Finland's border with Russia, by contrast, crosses vast taiga forests and represents the longest border Russia shares with any of its European neighbors. At number 36, in the remote coastal landscape of Alaska lies the peculiar town of Whittier, where nearly all of the town's 200-plus residents live under a single roof, inside a 14-story former military barracks named the Baggage Towers. This monolithic structure is essentially a vertical town, housing not just apartments but also essential services including a post office, a grocery store, a health clinic, a church, and the local police department. The town's school is connected by an underground tunnel, allowing children to attend classes without being exposed to the harsh Alaskan winters that can bring temperatures well below freezing and fierce winds. Whittier's isolation is compounded by its unique geography, with the only land access being a single-lane, 2.5-mile-long tunnel that is shared by both cars and trains on a timed schedule. This creates a community unlike any other in the world, where neighbors truly live just down the hall from each other. Number 37. Malta is so small that one can drive across the entire main island in under an hour. The main island covers just 246 square kilometers, and the entire Maltese territory, including Gozo and Comino, totals approximately 316 square kilometers, smaller than many individual cities yet packed with historic sites, beaches, and towns. This compact layout means travelers can journey from Valletta's ancient fortifications to the dramatic cliffs of Dingley or the sandy beaches near Mellieha in under an hour, making Malta one of the world's most accessible micro-destinations. At number 38, Nepal is the only country with a non-rectangular flag. Its unique design combines two stacked, triangular pennants representing the Himalayan mountains, and Nepal's two major religions, Hinduism and Buddhism. The crimson red represents the rhododendron national flower and bravery, while the blue border signifies peace. The pennants contain symbols of a white moon and sun, representing the nation's permanence and longevity. Number 39. Antarctica has no official time zone. Instead, each research station sets its own clock according to practical operational needs. Because all longitudinal lines converge at the poles, Antarctica technically exists within all 24 global time zones simultaneously, making a unified time system impossible to implement. As a result, research stations typically follow the time zone of their home country or main supply hub. In essence, time in Antarctica is not defined by longitude or solar position, but is chosen purely for convenience and operational efficiency. Number 40. The Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico was shaped by the same massive asteroid impact that wiped out the dinosaurs over 66 million years ago. This asteroid struck just off the coast, excavating what is now known as the buried Chicxulub crater, measuring approximately 200 kilometers across. The impact unleashed energy equivalent to 100 million megatons of TNT, triggering global firestorms, tsunamis, earthquakes, and a nuclear winter that blocked sunlight and led to the extinction of roughly 75 to 80% of all species, including non-avian dinosaurs. Today, the stunning ring of cenotes, a semicircular chain of sinkholes across the northern Yucatan, represents a visible surface scar of this ancient catastrophe. Number 41. Iceland produces virtually 100% of its electricity from renewable sources, with approximately 85% of its total primary energy coming from geothermal and hydroelectric power combined. Nearly all of Iceland's grid electricity is generated through hydroelectric and geothermal energy, leaving minimal dependence on fossil fuels for power production. About 90% of homes are heated using steam or hot water piped directly from underground geothermal reservoirs, making geothermal energy the dominant source of space heating. This remarkable energy setup is built on Iceland's unique geology. The country straddles the mid-Atlantic ridge, combining volcanic activity with powerful glacial rivers to generate abundant clean energy. Number 42. The Kola Superdeep borehole in Russia is Earth's deepest artificial point at 12,262 meters, 7.6 miles. This Soviet scientific drilling project, 1970 to 1992, aimed to penetrate as far as possible into Earth's crust. It yielded surprising discoveries including free water and microscopic fossils at great depths. The 180 degrees Celsius bottom temperature ultimately halted the project. Though now abandoned, the collected data remains invaluable for understanding Earth's structure. Number 43. Tuvalu, a tiny Pacific atoll nation, is projected to be among the first countries at risk of disappearing due to rising sea levels. With a total land area of just 26 square kilometers and an average elevation under 2 meters, Tuvalu ranks among the lowest-lying nations on Earth. Coastal flooding is already a present reality. By 2050, approximately 50% of its capital atoll, Funafuti, could be regularly submerged at high tide, rising to 95% by 2010. In response to this existential threat, Tuvalu's government amended its constitution in 2023 to assert its permanent statehood and maritime rights regardless of land loss, ensuring its sovereignty endures even if the physical land does not. Number 44. California is home to a town named Zizix, pronounced Zayizix. It was named by a fraudulent doctor who wanted it to be the last word in town names. Today, it is a desert study center, but the quirky name remains. Number 45. California has more national parks than any other U.S. state, with a total of 9 parks within its borders. These 9 national parks include iconic destinations such as Yosemite, Sequoia, and Kings Canyon, Death Valley, Joshua Tree, Redwood, Lassen Volcanic, Channel Islands, and the relatively newer Pinnacles National Park. This distinction places California ahead of every other state, with Alaska following closely with 8 parks and Utah maintaining 5. Millions of visitors flock to explore these protected lands annually, making California a global leader in natural diversity and conservation. Number 46. Australia is wider than the moon's diameter. The continent measures about 4,000 kilometers east to west, while the moon's diameter is approximately 3,474 kilometers. However, the moon's total surface area, 38 million square kilometers, is nearly 5 times Australia's area, 7.7 million square kilometers. This fact highlights how linear measurements can be misleading when comparing different types of geographical objects. Number 47. The Great Barrier Reef is more accurately described as the world's largest living structure rather than organism. It's a colossal ecosystem built by billions of coral polyps that secrete calcium carbonate skeletons. Over thousands of years, these accumulated skeletons formed today's massive structure. While it's the largest structure built by living organisms, the title of largest single organism belongs to other entities like the Pando aspen colony. Number 48. La Palma in the Canary Islands is home to one of the world's largest erosion calderas, the Caldera de Taburiente. Spanning 8 to 9 kilometers in diameter and plunging nearly 2,000 meters deep, this massive caldera supports lush Canary Island pine forests, clear streams, natural springs, and waterfalls reaching up to 150 meters in height. Fed by deep ravines and rich hydrology, this ecosystem thrives in stark contrast to the barren slopes above. The Caldera de Taburiente has been designated as one of the 100 geological heritage sites in the world by the International Union of Geological Sciences. At number 49, high in California's White Mountains grows Methuselah, a bristlecone pine believed to be more than 4,850 years old, making it possibly the oldest living tree on Earth. It was already ancient before the pyramids in Egypt were built. And finally, number 50, Hudson Bay in Canada ranks among the world's largest bays, so vast that the entire island of Great Britain could fit inside it with room to spare. Hudson Bay covers roughly 1,230,000 square kilometers, making it the second largest bay by area on Earth, surpassed only by the Bay of Bengal. The bay maintains the longest shoreline of any bay in North America, with an intricate, indented coastline encompassing Quebec, Ontario, Manitoba, and Nunavut. In terms of drainage, Hudson Bay's watershed covers an enormous 3.86 million square kilometers, spanning much of Canada and parts of the United States, making it one of Earth's most significant inland seas by watershed size. At number 51, the La Brea tar pits in the middle of Los Angeles have preserved over 3.5 million fossils from the Ice Age, including mammoths, dire wolves, and saber-toothed cats. It is one of the richest fossil sites in the world, offering a glimpse into what LA looked like 40,000 years ago. At number 52, while the Amazon rainforest often comes to mind when thinking of the world's largest forest, the title of the world's largest forest biome actually belongs to the taiga, also known as the boreal forest. This vast expanse of coniferous trees forms a continuous circumboreal ring across the northern hemisphere, covering approximately 17 million square kilometers across Russia, Canada, Alaska, and Scandinavia. This represents nearly 30% of the world's total forest cover, making it significantly larger than the Amazon rainforest. The taiga is characterized by its dense forests of spruce, fir, and pine trees that are specially adapted to survive the long, harsh winters and short growing seasons of the subarctic climate. These forests play a crucial role in the global climate system as a massive carbon sink, storing enormous amounts of carbon in both their biomass and the underlying permafrost. However, the taiga faces increasing threats from climate change, including rising temperatures, changing precipitation patterns, and more frequent forest fires, which could potentially transform this vital ecosystem and release stored carbon back into the atmosphere. Number 53. The tiny town of Siete Cidades on São Miguel Island in the Azores is nestled inside a massive volcanic crater, where residents live peacefully within this unique geological setting. Siete Cidades sits within a volcanic caldera approximately 7 kilometers wide, with crater walls rising roughly 300 meters above a pair of striking lakes, Lagoa Azul and Lagoa Verde, each reflecting the sky and surrounding vegetation in vivid blue and green tones. The village itself is home to fewer than 800 residents. Visitors can hike around the crater rim, paddle on the lakes, cycle or quad bike through volcanic tracks, or walk through a unique 1.2-kilometer tunnel, built in the 1930s to regulate lake levels while serving as a pedestrian pathway. Number 54, Russia ranks among the coldest countries on Earth, with an average annual temperature of approximately -5 degrees Celsius. In northeastern Siberia lies Oymyakon, considered the coldest permanently inhabited place on the planet. In February 1933, this town recorded a bone-chilling temperature of -67.7 degrees Celsius, and winters routinely average around -50 degrees Celsius. Oymyakon's extreme cold results from its unique geography, nestled in a mountain valley that traps frigid air, receiving limited winter daylight, and located far from any oceanic warming influence. Consequently, the area remains snow-covered and bitterly cold for approximately 9 months each year. Other notably cold nations include Mongolia, Greenland, Norway, and Finland. Number 55. The continent of Africa is home to 54 independent countries, more than any other continent in the world. Official United Nations reports list 54 sovereign nations, including major powers such as Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa. While some sources cite 55 countries, this higher number includes the disputed territory of Western Sahara, which is recognized by the African Union but not universally acknowledged by the UN. These 54 countries encompass every type of landscape imaginable, from the vast Sahara Desert to the dense rainforests of the Congo Basin, the arid deserts of Namibia, and bustling coastal cities. Collectively, they cover nearly 30 million square kilometers and host 1.4 billion people. At number 56, New Zealand hosts a hill with the world's longest place name, Taumatauakatangihanga Koauauotamateat, Uripukakapiki Maunga Horonukupokai Wenu Akitanatahu. This 85-letter Maori word translates to the summit where Tamatea, the man with the big knees, the slider, climber of mountains, the land swallower who traveled about, played his kawawau, a type of flute, to his loved one. The name commemorates the legend of Tamatea, a famous warrior and explorer, often shortened to Tamata. The full name is officially recognized and holds the Guinness World Record. At number 57, the Okavango Delta in Botswana exhibits a fascinating phenomenon by flooding during the dry season, defying normal river behavior by reaching peak water levels when the surrounding landscape is at its driest. The floodwaters originate as rainfall in Angola's highlands, then slowly travel over 1,000 kilometers to Botswana, arriving in the delta from April through June and peaking between June and August, precisely during Botswana's dry months. During this period, the delta expands dramatically from a baseline of roughly 4,000 to 6,000 square kilometers to about 12,000 square kilometers, and in particularly wet years, nearly 15,000 square kilometers, effectively tripling in size as floodwaters spread across the Kalahari Plains. Number 58. In the Philippines, Vulcan Point is a geological marvel, an island within a lake, on an island within a lake, on another island. This nested formation centers around the Taal volcano on Luzon Island. The structure consists of Vulcan Point, an island in Main Crater Lake, which sits on Volcano Island, which is in Taal Lake, which is on Luzon Island. This unique geography results from the volcano's complex history of eruptions and caldera collapses. The 2020 eruption temporarily caused the Main Crater Lake to disappear, but it has since returned. Number 59. The Trona pinnacles in the Mojave Desert are over 500 tufa spires, some reaching 140 feet tall. This strange, dry landscape is so otherworldly that it has been used as a filming location for movies and TV shows like Star Trek and Planet of the Apes. And at number 60, Las Vegas is the brightest spot on Earth when viewed from space. This intense artificial glow from millions of neon signs, streetlights, and illuminated buildings is easily visible to astronauts on the International Space Station. The Las Vegas Strip creates an unparalleled density of high-intensity lighting. While this spectacle showcases the city's vibrant character, it also raises concerns about energy consumption and light pollution's environmental impact. Number 61. Only 2 sovereign nations in the world are classified as double landlocked, meaning one must cross at least 2 countries to reach the nearest ocean. These 2 countries are Uzbekistan and Liechtenstein. Uzbekistan, located in Central Asia, is surrounded by 5 landlocked neighbors: Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Afghanistan. Since these neighboring countries are themselves entirely landlocked, reaching an ocean from Uzbekistan requires crossing at least 2 borders. Liechtenstein, situated in Western Europe between Austria and Switzerland, represents Europe's only double landlocked country, sandwiched between 2 landlocked neighbors and completely cut off from direct sea access. Number 62. The Dead Sea is actually a landlocked salt lake with a salinity of 34.2%, making it nearly 10 times saltier than the ocean. This extreme salt concentration allows visitors to float effortlessly on its surface. The high salinity results from the lake being an endorheic basin with no outflow, where water can only escape through evaporation. It's also the lowest point on Earth's land surface at 430.5 meters below sea level. The Dead Sea is shrinking at an alarming rate due to water diversion from the Jordan River and mineral extraction. Number 63. On clear nights with a full moon, Yosemite National Park is one of the few places in the world where you can witness a moonbow, a rainbow created by moonlight. These ghostly, pale arcs of light appear in the midst of the park's powerful waterfalls. Number 64. Bangladesh boasts an extensive network of over 700 rivers. Traditional sources and the Banglapedia list approximately 700 rivers, including tributaries and distributaries across the vast Ganges-Brahmaputra-Meghna river system, totaling nearly 24,140 kilometers of waterways. However, recent government reports from the Ministry of Water Resources have officially documented between 1,156 and 1,294 rivers based on comprehensive valley-wide surveys. Some experts argue that the actual count may exceed 2,000 when including smaller hill streams and Sundarbans channels in the calculation. Number 65. During the last ice age, California's Channel Islands were home to dwarf mammoths that stood only 5 to 6 feet tall. These tiny giants evolved from larger mammoths that swam to the islands and shrank in size over generations to adapt to their new environment. Number 66. Vatican City is the world's smallest independent state at just 0.49 square kilometers, an enclave within Rome. Established in 1929 through the Lateran Treaty, it serves as the Roman Catholic Church's spiritual and administrative center. Despite its tiny size, it has global influence, its own flag, anthem, postal service, and banking system. Protected by the Swiss Guard, it's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, housing priceless art and architecture. At number 67, the Pan American Highway holds the record as the world's longest road, stretching nearly 30,000 kilometers from Alaska to Argentina. This extensive route connects multiple countries, including the United States, Canada, Mexico, various Central American nations, and then continues into Colombia, Peru, Chile, and Argentina. However, there is one major interruption: the Darien Gap, a dense rainforest region between Panama and Colombia, where road construction has never been completed due to extreme terrain and indigenous opposition. Because of this break, travelers must either ship their vehicles around the gap or fly across it. Despite this interruption, the Guinness World Record still recognizes the Pan American Highway as the world's longest motorable road network. At number 68, in 2010, scientists discovered a massive underwater river on the Black Sea floor. This distinct channel flows along the seabed with banks, floodplains, and even rapids. The phenomenon is a density current formed by highly saline Mediterranean water flowing through the Bosphorus Strait into the less saline Black Sea. Being denser, the Mediterranean water sinks and flows along the seabed. With a flow rate that would make it the 6th largest river on land, this discovery is crucial for understanding deep-sea sediment and nutrient transport. Number 69. Gabon is covered by 88% rainforest, making it one of the most densely forested nations on the planet. With a total area of approximately 267,700 square kilometers, nearly 236,000 square kilometers consists of lush tropical forest, a forest-to-land ratio surpassed only by a few small countries. Remarkably, despite maintaining nearly 90% forest cover, Gabon has kept its deforestation rate below 0.1% annually over the past 30 years, a significant conservation achievement. This dense forest supports extraordinary biodiversity, including the world's largest remaining population of forest elephants, about 60% of the global total and thriving populations of gorillas. And at number 70, Istanbul is the only major city straddling two continents, Europe and Asia, divided by the Bosphorus Strait. This narrow waterway connects the Black Sea to the Mediterranean, making it one of the world's most strategic passages. For millennia, this location has made Istanbul a crossroads of civilizations. The transcontinental nature is part of daily life for its 15+ million residents, who routinely commute between continents via bridges, ferries, and an underwater rail tunnel. Number 71, the Northern Lights, or Aurora Borealis, represent one of Earth's most stunning natural phenomena. Visible in high-latitude regions such as Iceland, Norway, Sweden, Canada, and Alaska, this breathtaking spectacle occurs when charged particles from the sun collide with gases in Earth's atmosphere, creating waves of green, purple, red, and pink light that shimmer across the night sky. Beyond their beauty, the auroras serve as a visible reminder of Earth's magnetic field and how it protects our planet from harmful solar radiation. Abisko, Sweden, home to the Aurora Sky Station, is renowned for its clear skies and frequent aurora displays, making it one of the best places on Earth to witness this natural wonder. At number 72, rising at the border of Venezuela, Brazil, and Guyana, Mount Roraima is a massive flat-topped mountain that resembles something from a science fiction film. Its towering 400-meter vertical cliffs are often shrouded in mist, creating the impression of a floating island in the sky. The summit represents a completely isolated world. Having been cut off for millions of years, the mountaintop hosts unique plant species and strange rock formations found nowhere else. Mount Roraima even inspired Arthur Conan Doyle's novel, The Lost World, in which dinosaurs survived in secret atop a hidden plateau. At number 73, Mauna Loa in Hawaii is Earth's largest active volcano. While its peak stands 4,170 meters above sea level, when measured from the ocean floor base, it rises 9,170 meters, making it taller than Mount Everest from base to summit. Its volume is estimated at 75,000 cubic kilometers, built by countless lava flows over hundreds of thousands of years. As a shield volcano, its eruptions are typically non-explosive, with fluid lava flows that shape the island's landscape. Number 74, near Quito, Ecuador, the Mitad del Mundo monument supposedly marks the equator with a line dividing the northern and southern hemispheres. However, modern GPS reveals the true equator lies approximately 240 meters north of the monument. This discrepancy results from 18th century surveying equipment inaccuracies used by the French geodesic mission. Despite this, the site remains popular, illustrating the evolution of scientific measurement. Number 75. Antarctica's McMurdo Dry Valleys are Earth's driest place, with some areas not seeing precipitation for an estimated 14 million years. This extreme aridity results from the transantarctic mountains, blocking ice flow and powerful katabatic winds that evaporate any moisture. The Mars-like landscape is used by NASA for research. Despite harsh conditions, a unique ecosystem of extremophiles persists in this otherworldly environment. Number 76. Costa Rica abolished its army in 1948, making it one of the few modern republics to constitutionally prohibit a permanent military force. Following the 1948 Civil War, the 1949 Constitution officially outlawed permanent military forces while still allowing for temporary security structures under civilian control. Without a military budget, Costa Rica channels significant resources into human development. Education and healthcare together account for 60% of government expenditure, supporting universal literacy, free basic healthcare, and strong social indicators throughout the country. At number 77, the bright pink and red ponds along the San Francisco Bay are salt ponds. Their vibrant colors come from tiny algae and microbes that thrive in super salty water, turning the ponds into a colorful, natural salt factory. At number 78, most Australians live on or near the coast, making Australia one of the world's most coastal-oriented populations. Roughly 95% of Australians live within 100 kilometers of the shoreline, and around 85% reside within just 50 kilometers of the coast in major cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Perth. Although Australia spans nearly 7.7 million square kilometers, most of the interior consists of arid or semi-arid land, with fewer than 4 people per square kilometer on average. Coastal living offers milder climates, fertile lands, major ports, and employment opportunities, drawing people away from the harsh desert interior. Number 79, the Andes is the world's longest continental mountain range, stretching 7,000 kilometers along South America's western edge through 7 countries. With an average height of 4,000 meters, it was formed by oceanic plate subduction beneath the South American plate, making it one of the most volcanically and seismically active regions. The range includes some of the world's highest peaks outside Asia, including Mount Aconcagua. And at number 80, approximately 90% of the world's population lives in the Northern Hemisphere. This results from the Northern Hemisphere containing about 68% of Earth's landmass, including all of Europe and North America, most of Asia, and significant parts of Africa and South America. The Southern Hemisphere is dominated by oceans. More land in temperate climates has historically meant more space for civilizations to develop and support large populations. Number 81. More than 25% of the Netherlands lies below sea level, made habitable only through an extraordinary network of dikes, pumps, and reclaimed land, with an additional 24% sitting less than 1 meter above sea level. Major cities such as Amsterdam and Rotterdam are built on land that would be underwater without the sophisticated Dutch water management system. To protect this low-lying terrain, the Netherlands has created the Delta Works, a modern engineering marvel consisting of dams, sluices, storm barriers, levees, and reinforced dike systems that safeguard entire provinces from the North Sea. At number 82, Sweden holds the record for most islands with 267,570 total. This vast number results from the country's geological history and indented coastline. Most are small, uninhabited rocky outcrops called skerries. The formation results from post-glacial rebound, where land slowly rises after being depressed by Ice Age glaciers. As land emerges from the sea, new islands constantly form. Only about 1,000 islands are inhabited. At number 83, the Czech Republic has the highest number of castles per capita in the world, with over 2,000 castles, chateaux, ruins, and fortresses scattered across approximately 78,900 square kilometers. This represents roughly one historic site for every 4,500 to 5,000 people, a density unmatched by any other country. The Czech Republic's castle-rich landscape includes everything from grand medieval strongholds like the sprawling Prague Castle, the largest ancient castle in the world, castle complex in the world, to romantic chateau and hilltop ruins tucked into nearly every village and protected landscape. Whether transformed into hotels, museums, or restaurants, many of these historic sites are easily accessible within hours from Prague or regional towns. Number 84. Mount Disappointment in Australia earned its name in 1824 from explorers Hamilton Hume and William Hovell. They climbed the 800-meter peak hoping for panoramic views of their destination, Port Phillip Bay. After a difficult ascent, they found their view completely obscured by dense forest. In frustration, they named it Mount Disappointment. Ironically, the mountain is now popular for recreation, and the 2009 bushfires temporarily opened the views they originally sought. Number 85. California has over 700 named earthquake faults and experiences around 10,000 quakes each year, though most are too small to be felt. The famous San Andreas Fault is an 800-mile-wide zone that has been active for over 20 million years, constantly reshaping the state's landscape. Number 86. Antarctica is the coldest, driest, and highest continent on Earth. The cold is so intense that exhaled breath freezes into ice crystals that fall to the ground. The average winter temperature is minus 34.4 degrees Celsius, minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit, but the lowest recorded temperature was minus 89.2 degrees Celsius at Vostok Station in 1983. Satellite data has detected even colder temperatures below minus 93.2 degrees Celsius. This extreme cold results from its polar location receiving little sunlight, its reflective ice sheet, and high elevation of about 2,500 meters. At number 87, the Tabernas Desert in Andalusia, Spain, holds the distinction of being the only true desert on mainland Europe. Covering approximately 280 square kilometers, the Tabernas Desert is uniquely classified under a hot desert climate, an extremely rare environment in continental Europe. Annual rainfall remains below 220 to 250 millimeters, while summer temperatures often soar past 40 degrees Celsius, carving dramatic badlands and ravines from the arid landscape. At number 88, La Palma in the Canary Islands is home to one of the world's largest erosion calderas, the Caldera de Taburiente. Spanning 8 to 9 kilometers in diameter and plunging nearly 2,000 meters deep, this massive caldera supports lush Canary Island pine forests, clear streams, natural springs, and waterfalls reaching up to 150 meters in height. Fed by deep ravines and rich hydrology, this ecosystem thrives in stark contrast to the barren slopes above. The Caldera de Taburiente has been designated as one of the 100 geological heritage sites in the world by the International Union of Geological Sciences. Number 89, California City is the state's third largest city by land area, but it's mostly a ghost grid of empty streets. In the 1950s, developers planned a massive city to rival Los Angeles, but the population never arrived, leaving behind a quiet, surreal landscape of roads to nowhere. And at number 90, the Amazon River dolphin, or boto, is remarkable for its distinctive pink coloration. Adult botos display striking pink hues thought to result from scar tissue and blood vessel proximity to the skin. Perfectly adapted to riverine environments, they have flexible necks allowing 90-degree head turns and highly developed sonar. These dolphins hold prominent places in Amazonian folklore but are sadly endangered due to habitat threats and pollution. Number 91, the Kola Superdeep Borehole in Russia is Earth's deepest artificial point at 12,262 meters, 7.6 miles. This Soviet scientific drilling project, 1970 to 1992, aimed to penetrate as far as possible into Earth's crust. It yielded surprising discoveries including free water and microscopic fossils at great depths. The 180 degrees Celsius bottom temperature ultimately halted the project. Though now abandoned, the collected data remains invaluable for understanding Earth's structure. At number 92, Australia has over 10,000 beaches along its 50,000-kilometer coastline. This abundance means visiting a new beach daily would take over 29 years. Beach culture is deeply embedded in Australian identity, with over 85% of the population living within 50 kilometers of the coast. The diversity ranges from world-famous surf beaches like Bondi to pristine white silica sands of Whitehaven Beach that squeak underfoot. At number 93, Owens Lake was once a 110-square-mile body of water before it was drained dry in 1926 to supply water to Los Angeles. This created an environmental disaster as windstorms whipped up clouds of toxic dust, leading to the worst PM10 pollution problem in the country. Number 94, the geysers located north of San Francisco is the world's largest geothermal field. This underground steam factory contains 18 geothermal power plants that produce enough energy for 1.4 million people. Number 95, Portugal's westernmost point, Cabo da Roca, was once considered the end of the world. Perched atop 140-meter cliffs overlooking the vast Atlantic Ocean, this dramatic headland was famously described by 16th-century Portuguese poet Luís de Camões as where the land ends and the sea begins. Before European sailors fully mapped the globe, Cabo da Roca was perceived as the edge of known civilization, an ominous boundary where seas supposedly led into unknown realms inhabited by mythical monsters. Today, a stone monument and cross mark this historic point, inscribed with Camões' verse. Visitors can even purchase a souvenir certificate declaring, "I've stood at the end of Europe," a nod to the centuries when this cliff felt like the last outpost of the known world. Number 96. Andalusia has more olive trees than anywhere else on Earth. This Spanish region produces 80% of Spain's olive oil output, and since Spain contributes roughly 40 to 45% of global olive oil production, approximately 75% of all olive trees in Spain are located in Andalusia. The concentration is particularly dense in Jaén province, where more than 66 million olive trees cover around 550,000 hectares. Across Andalusia, olive groves occupy over 1.5 million hectares, representing about 45% of the region's agricultural land through both traditional groves and intensive farming operations. Andalusia recently set a new record with over 4.25 billion euros in olive oil exports in 2024. At number 97, Las Vegas is the brightest spot on Earth when viewed from space. This intense artificial glow from millions of neon signs, streetlights, and illuminated buildings is easily visible to astronauts on the International Space Station. The Las Vegas Strip creates an unparalleled density of high-intensity lighting. While this spectacle showcases the city's vibrant character, it also raises concerns about energy consumption and light pollution's environmental impact. At number 98, high in California's White Mountains grows Methuselah, a bristlecone pine believed to be more than 4,850 years old, making it possibly the oldest living tree on Earth. It was already ancient before the pyramids in Egypt were built. Number 99, Son Doong Cave in Vietnam holds the distinction of being the world's largest natural cave, so massive that it could accommodate a 40-story skyscraper within its chambers. The cave spans approximately 9 kilometers in length, with interior chambers soaring up to 500 meters high and 175 meters wide. Discovered in the early 1990s and officially surveyed in 2009 by a British-Vietnamese expedition team, Son Doong stunned scientists with its cathedral-scale dimensions. The cave even earned the nickname Great Wall of Vietnam due to the massive calcite barrier that explorers must climb to access certain sections. It represents an underground world of unprecedented scale. And finally, at number 100, Australia's Dingo Fence stands as one of the longest single continuous human-made structures on Earth. Stretching approximately 5,614 kilometers across Queensland, New South Wales, and South Australia, this massive barrier was constructed to keep dingoes out of Australia's southeastern agricultural regions. While many believe the dingo fence is longer than the Great Wall of China, this is actually a common misconception. Although it holds the record as the world's longest continuous fence, The Great Wall of China is not a single wall, but rather a vast system of walls and fortifications, with a combined total length of 21,196 kilometers, making it significantly longer than the Dingo Fence.